Hey, what's going on, y'all? Hey, what's up? This is Queen Aishah, and you are checking out another dope episode of I Know Dope People with Queen Aishah. That be me. We starting a little late today, but put it on me. It's Wednesday. It is truly a hump day for me, but we're going to get through. We have my very awesome, dope friend, Stephanie Gaines-Bryant. Excuse me, she's a radio personality, Stephanie Gaines-Bryant. We've been friends almost 30 years, and we're going to get all into that. And before we get into bringing Stephanie Gaines-Bryant on, I want to do some Queen's Quickies. You know, Queen's Quickies are some quick mentions, concerns, announcements, comedy, or some things that might be going on, or some things that's in my head, where in my head, all things are real. The first thing I want to talk about is, I think it's Floss J. Johnson, the basketball player from Louisiana State University, who was originally from Savannah, Georgia. She's a freshman. She is getting her life, doing her thing. She just signed a deal with Rock Nation. She's doing collaborations with everyone. She did a collaboration with Lotto. She's working on something with Lil Wayne, and she has an Amazon commercial. So she seems to be focused, balancing out her education, her balling, her rapping, and getting her paper in alignment. Go ahead, Flage. I think I said it right. Flage. She's a pretty girl too. So awesome to you. When I see you out in the world, I'm like, go Flage, go Flage. Also, Angel Reese is in the Amazon commercial with her. So they're kind of like getting their money, and they getting school supplies and things for their dorm room and all. Smart move, ladies, and your team. So word on the street is that Auntie Aretha Franklin, after passing away in 2018, may she rest in peace, the family found the will in her couch. A couch is for like, we would say a couch for like the 80s and earlier, right? We would call it a couch. Lady Aretha Franklin, that would be a sofa. But supposedly, word on the street is that they finally found the will for Auntie Aretha Franklin in the couch. And that'd be about Black. I mean, that'd be about right, that Black people do be hiding stuff. Her generation, no disrespect, you will find stuff in the couch, the refrigerator, the glove compartment, things like that. So they found the will, or either somebody was holding out to get something, to have something up on somebody, and now they're presenting the will. So I'm glad the Franklin family, they're able to work that out, and then I guess put a final piece to that chapter with Aretha Franklin. And I don't know if you all heard Tiara Allen out of Houston, Texas. She is, from what I understand, a trucker and a social media influencer. She was arrested for yelling in public in the UAE, the United Arab Emirates. She had gotten into a car accident in Dubai. She went to return a car. Her and the man at the car rental place had some words exchanged. He supposedly raised his voice at her. She raised her voice back. So she was arrested for yelling in public. They would have got my ass too. Anyway, now here's the thing. Everybody's saying, oh, she a Black woman. They always doing that, raising their voice, getting their neck. Here's the thing. See, we go to a lot of different countries, and we don't, and I say we in general, because I've traveled the world, and I'll do research. I'm either going to ask someone that's been there, ask someone that's a native, or I'm going to do my own research. And that was before we had Google and all these sophisticated tools to know what the culture is. And see, a lot of times, I'm going to say this in general, for as people, and especially sometimes Americans, we don't respect people cultures and ways of being because we think everybody's supposed to fit into what we do. No, you don't have to like what they do, but you got to respect what they do. Like when you come into my house, I ask you to take off your shoes. You don't have to like it. Just come in here with some clean feet or some clean socks. You taking your shoes off or you're not coming in. So stop disrespecting people. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if she was disrespectful. I don't know what her intentions were. If the guy yelled at her first, he out of order. But however, if that's their culture and that's what they do, I'm not saying she got to accept it, but maybe we have to learn how to move differently and how to calm a situation. Supposedly, she was arrested, her passport was taken, and she's jailed. If it was a man, black, white, a man, period, from anywhere, if he did the same thing, he would have been arrested also in that country because they don't roll like that. Okay, so wishing Tierra Allen and her family all the best and just the whole situation, sending them some love and light. All right. So we're gonna bring my girlfriend, my sister friend, Stephanie Gaines-Bryant. Now she got a long bio, a lot of information. So I'm gonna skip around. Stephanie, thank you so much for your yes. Stephanie Gaines-Bryant is she's been in radio for over 25 years in the Washington, D.C. area, as well as around the country. Her and I actually met at Radio 1 when I was working at 93.9 WKYS on the Russ Parr Morning Show with Olivia Fox, and she was working across the hallway at Magic 102.3 WMMJ FM as the co-host on the Doug Gilmore Morning Show. So the thing about it is we're both Jersey girls, and also when we didn't have someone to do our news, she would just come across the hall and do the news for us, and we just formed a bond. She also has a show that is on a cable access channel called the Sisters for Fitness Wellness Show. It's a daily show that tackles health issues for women. She was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and she founded the organization as a mission for African Americans to pay attention to their health through fitness and nutrition. The signature events are the Sisters for Fitness 5K Run, Walk, and it attracts hundreds of women in the Washington, D.C. area, DMV, each year. And Stephanie is also a yogi guru, and I'm gonna wait till she comes on for her to talk about how she got into that. As I stated, she's from New Jersey. We met in DC. She is the wife of the retired naval officer Richard R. Bryant, and she is the mother to 4 awesome genius children. Richard Jr., the twins, Christian and Kendall, and Gabriel, Gaby, my baby Gaby, who is now attending Howard University. Please put your hands together for my sister friend, Stephanie Gaines-Bryant. Woo! Baby. So here's the thing. Stephanie is like my silent cheerleader. Stephanie isn't going to be at every event. She's not going to watch every show. It's not that she doesn't want to. Stephanie got a lot going on. Even with her children being grown out of the house, I can't even believe they grown it out of the house. I can't. It seemed like Davey was just having just wondering why they had the Halloween stuff out or they had they had the Halloween stuff out and 4th of July had to happen, or they had Christmas stuff out and Halloween had to happen. It's just like yesterday he was like 5 and I'm like, he's 19 now, so I can't. Anyway, Stephanie she told me in like 95, she said, Aishah, your spirit fills a room. And she said, everyone is not going to be able to handle that or deal with you in that matter. And I was like, huh? She actually, the very first book that I wrote was like in 1999, 2000. It's called You Know Your Big One. I never put the book out, but Stephanie edited that book for me. And as I was writing it, I said, I think I'm going to put a different twist in it because I want to make sure that I'm putting something really good into the universe to inspire people. And now that was a comedy book. However, I think I may put a different twist on it. But Stephanie!
Still crazy. Yes. Still crazy after all these years.
Yes. Thank you so much for your yes. And today we're going to focus on yoga being for every body type. Stephanie is very serious about this, and she would have me come to her the yoga classes and different things just to show women that are a little thicker or think that they can't do it, that you can do it. Start where you are. I love yoga. If I had access to do yoga every day, especially hot yoga. Stephanie is not a fan of hot yoga. Stephanie, talk about your first time you went to hot yoga. What happened?
Oh my goodness! Do you know I almost passed out? I must, in another life I was an Eskimo because I can't stand that heat. So I walk into this studio, and I knew it was hot yoga. I guess I didn't realize how hot it was. So I walk in there. I can't breathe. I can't think, and there's like these naked white people that's next to me, and they're old in their 80s and 90s, and you're looking at all this skin and it's hot and it's sweaty. Never went back to another hot yoga class. It was too much. It was too much.
I love hot yoga. And Stephanie, your main focus is it hatha yoga?
Yes,
that you focus
I
on?
trained in hatha yoga.
So tell us how you got introduced to yoga. What made you get into yoga?
I had chronic back pain. Now I'm not a good runner, but I love to run. That's like my moving meditation. Mm-hmm. So I ran for years and years and years, and it started taking a toll on my back. Mm-hmm. So every night I would come home and I would have this horrible, horrible back pain. So I went to physical therapy a couple of times, and I hated physical therapy. Mm-hmm. And I had this physical therapist that would put these like sonic things on my back. Mm-hmm. And one day she left it on too long, and she left me in the room. The door was closed, and I'm screaming, Pam, Pam. And she wouldn't come in. I ripped those things off my back and ran out that office. And she said, before I left, she said, are you going to quit running? Because if not, I'll see you back here in 3 weeks. And I was like, you will never see me again. So I started looking for a more holistic way to deal with that back pain. And I was just riding down Route 301 in Maryland, in the Gambrels area. And I saw this sign that said yoga. I stopped in and I got a schedule. And went to the first yoga class. And I swear to you, Aisha, it was like magic. When she put us up into downward dog, it was like I saw Jesus.
Jesus.
The pain in my back was released like nothing I had ever felt before. And I just, from then on, I would take like 2 classes a week. And I fell in love. It was love at first downward dog. And so about 1.5 years into taking classes, I decided, why not teach classes? So that's when I took the yoga teacher training. It was like a 9-month class, and my kids were small at the time, but I figured out a way to kind of fit in that yoga teacher training. And when I got finished, I immediately started working for different studios, and I realized I needed to work for myself. So I finished in 2012, and I opened up my first studio in 2014.
Awesome.
And so that's how it got. So it started with back pain.
Yeah, and that's so funny because I was telling somebody, I said, Stephanie started doing it from back pain because you said that it wasn't natural to the body, the way they made the adjustments and all of those things.
Exactly. So, and I've been doing it ever since. And I wanted to appeal or have a studio that appealed to African-American women. And I don't know if you know the statistics, but 1 out of 5 African-American women were either overweight or morbidly obese. We suffer more from breast cancer. We suffer more from diabetes, heart disease. So yoga is one of the many ways that you can use to come to wellness.
I like that, to come to wellness. And you talked about running 13 years ago.
Yes!
When I turned 40. Stephanie actually gifted me training to do my first half marathon. It's an annual around October.
Yes, the Marine Corps.
The Marine Corps half marathon. And Stephanie trained me with that. Now, this will sound ignorant, but I'm going to say it because she might say it. She told me what to eat, how to prepare. She taught me how to trot to get less injury. When we started, I was so excited that morning. Everybody started running when we started, and I wanted to take off. And Stephanie grabbed my ass back. And she said, stay in your lane.
Yes.
Slow down. Pace yourself, because I would have burned myself out. And you know how you think you're running faster, then you run it and you're really not anybody. You just burned a lot of energy. But my goal was to be able to finish the downward dog, to be able to finish and go to Red Lobster. Don't judge me.
And we did. We went to Red Lobster.
And let me tell you something, Stephanie. When I tell you, I don't remember if I took my food to go. I took something afterwards. We went, but I was so exhausted. When I got home, my whole body, everything was like tingling. It's like I had woke up so much but I was exhausted, but I slept so good. I felt so accomplished. I felt so accomplished. And for my friend, it was like 6 months we trained. And then that's when I actually started getting into running and trotting. But lately my body has been calling. I'm like, I want to go jogging. I want to go running. So I have to find a place around where I live at. Like, I used to go to PG Community College and I used to get on their track all the time. Whereas though there's not a place, some of the schools, they lock their gates. So you can't just come up on their grounds. So that's what I've been looking for. So Stephanie, she does it all. She encourages her children. She has her children into working out and all of those things.
And that's what you have to do. You have to start them when they're young. When my kids were like 10 and 11 years old, back in my 20s, I studied karate.
Okay. In Jersey?
I got up to a red belt and I had to quit after that. I ran out of money. But anyway, when they were small, when they were little, what I would do is we'd go down the basement and we would practice karate moves.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that got them into my two oldest ended up being wrestlers. One is still a college wrestler at the Naval Academy, but they ended up wrestling, doing karate, football. But I made sure when they were like 6 years old that they started being physically active as something that you will take with you through the rest of your life.
Yeah. And it's so funny. It's funny that you say that because I've always been, you know me, I'm very agile, flexible and all of that. And my mother started us off like she wanted to be a ballerina. So she actually put us in dance class in ballet when we were younger. We went to ballet, we did hiking, we did swimming, all of those things. You know what I'm saying? So I get in where I fit in. Whatever is going to be joy for me and movement, I'm all for it. You know what I'm saying? And like my thing now has been like dancing. Anything that brings me joy, I'm like, I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing it. I'm getting into it. So you still have your studio in the area, in Prince George's County or the other county next door?
Well, what happened during COVID, of course, we had to take all of the classes and make them virtual.
Right.
So what happened for me is I started teaching. I had been teaching a chair yoga class at my church for free. And we just have like, 4 or 5 people or whatever. But I wanted to give that yoga gift to the senior citizens.
Yes.
So, but once I put it on Zoom, it just blossomed.
Wow.
It just really blossomed. So now I've got 20 to 30 people 3 times a week in that chair yoga class. And a lot of the people, they're in their 60s or 70s, and they don't like the rigor of a full yoga class. They don't have the ability to do a full downward dog and things like that. But I make them sweat.
Yes.
So they still get the benefits of getting that cardio in, strengthening the lymphatic system, strengthening their muscles. They get the balance in as well. So I moved to that as well as I started teaching oncology yoga to cancer patients, especially breast cancer patients, which impacts African-American women at a disproportionate rate.
Wow. Okay. And that's awesome. So you were doing the yoga for seniors before the pandemic.
Yes, but just a small group. So for the last 3 years, because I had to close the studio in 20 and I put it on Zoom in 20. So for the last 3 years, that's been my most popular class, is the senior citizens, introducing them to this yoga thing and how it can benefit them. And I mean, and so what's wonderful about older people, they are so open to learning something. They are such a joy. I can't even tell you how much joy they bring me. But I found myself moving to more specialized yoga as I get older.
Okay. And how is the response going with the oncology yoga?
It's coming along. As a matter of fact, before did this show, I'm working on an advanced certification. I have the basic certification, but I'm working on an advanced one now. I work for a place called the Wellness House of Annapolis, and I teach classes on Wednesday afternoons. And it's a different style. The way you teach yoga to the senior citizens, the way you teach a regular hatha class, it's different because you have to take into consideration someone who has undergone cancer treatment.
Okay.
Also, I learned a lot about how the lymphatic system, how that plays a role, the toxins that you have in your body, removing the toxins, how the heart has a muscle to pump blood and oxygen through your body, where you have to find a way to move that lymph, to move those toxins out of your body. So it's been a great experience, but I've moved to more specialized classes lately.
That's awesome.
So that was a blessing. I mean, COVID was a tragedy, but it brought some blessings as well. And for me, that was one of the blessings it brought to me, was to be able to now give this gift to people, not just in the Maryland area, but all over the country through Zoom.
Absolutely. And Zoom is our cousin, honey. Family reunions. Did you or any of your family have birthday parties on Zoom during the pandemic?
You know what? I did not enjoy that.
See, here's the thing, Stephanie. I wasn't going for it. Like the parties, doing the shows, they hire me. I was like, I couldn't get into it. Then I found out all I got to do is get dressed from here on up. We doing this. Run me my money. My money. So at first, I was totally against it. I was like, oh, comedy's going to be the last thing to come back because you have to be in person. So I enjoyed it because, especially when I was doing my monthly shows, what I got a kick out of was people would be in the kitchen, frying chicken, yelling at their kids. They forgot, get the chicken, get it out the microwave. To the show, they would have their bonnets, they would be in the bed, but they were safe. And I just wanted to be a soft distraction because so much was going on. So I think that with you doing yoga, it offers that also, just to come in, whether it's through Zoom, at that time we weren't in person, but just to really give them that little ease.
But you know, I actually got to catch one of those. It was a Friday thing that you were doing.
Yes.
And it wasn't a distraction. I couldn't walk away.
No, I'm saying a distraction to all the pandemic. Yeah, just that.
It was so funny. I was just like glued to you. Yeah. I couldn't walk away. I thought that was so, but you got to have the right person to do that. Yeah. You got to give yourself some credit. Not everybody could do that and do it well.
Here's the thing. Yes, and here's the thing. So Rashawn, who was intern at the station, she was part of the team, and Katanya, who produces this show, it was us, right? And they would have still wanted to do it. I was like, nah. I said, we did it for 10 months. It's because it's a lot of work, and I give a lot to what I do. You know what I'm saying? I give a lot to what I do. So I was like, I've done my community service. I'm good. I'm good. I'm not saying I won't do it anymore, but we're not calling on no pandemics, but we're not speaking that. But I was like, for right now, I'm good. Now, I'm still hired. People still hire me to do shows virtually. So that's really dope because you have people around the country that want to do shows. People had their 50th birthday parties. I've done women's events for corporations, all types of things. You know what I'm saying? You hit Razia like, hey, Stephanie.
Hey, Razia babysitted my children when I was in grad school. Yes, she did. For 2 years, she took care of my kids while I did my graduate study. Yes. So Razia, I love you.
Yeah, when she sees the children, she's like, I can't believe my baby. Of course, she be taking credit. She said, look at how I raised them. And I love them because they're kids of the YZ 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's start it over generation. But when I tell you, they are so well mannered. They still miss Aisha. They are just such a joy, so respectful, so kind and beautiful. And Kendall was like, didn't Kendall just graduate from? I can't believe she graduated from. Is it Georgetown?
Yeah, she just graduated. She just started working this week. She started her very first job. So she's all grown up, living in DC on her own, got her own place. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, that's why you gotta enjoy. You gotta enjoy because it goes by so quickly. It really does.
Yeah, and Stephanie and Richard, they were when I tell you involved hands-on, and Richard is a retired naval a retired naval officer. And here's the thing: Richard was always present to make the babies, and always present when they came. That was just so dynamic. I was like, how divine is that? Like, he was always.
But he'd be going in between,
right? And this is the thing, because he you would not even know. She didn't even know where he was, but she was so faithful. They were so, and they kept the connection that they could with the work that he did, right? And so Stephanie really, look, me and Stephanie really carried them babies. And time is just flown. I can't even believe it.
I can't believe that it has been 30 years since Russ Parr morning show, and I was on the Doug Gilmore morning show, and we just happened. I knew, I could tell by your accent that you were from Jersey. I said, she's got to be a Jersey girl. And how we just simply connected. Mm-hmm. And it was a connection that has lasted all these years.
Yeah. And I'm connected with her brother, who's an attorney. And then his wife, she's hired me for shows at the different facilities that she works at. Her and my mom have a connection. Like, it's just beautiful and dope. And like, when I tell you, like, Stephanie, she is a confidant. If I need a boost, she gonna call. We just kick it with one another, and we share information. And I'll never forget one time I was visiting home it was right before the pandemic. I think it was in 2019. And we went out to eat. People know how to get me. They're like, Aishah, I want to see you. I'm like, I don't have time. I want to take you to lunch. Let me find time. I think we went to Milk and Honey in College Park.
Milk and Honey
in College Park, Maryland. Not College Park, Atlanta. College Park, Maryland. We went. It was good. I gave you one of my rum cakes, and Stephanie just cried. I ain't embarrassing you. She was just telling me how much she missed, like, our vibe, our connection. It's like, and I love Atlanta, but my people are in the DMV. I love my people here in Atlanta, don't get me wrong, because I lived in DC from 19 to my mid 40s. So it's like, I was born and raised in Newark, but DC, it took me leaving the DC, Maryland area to just be like, I now see people like, yo, I'm from DC, I'm from Maryland. You know, I have two heartbeats, and Stephanie is one of my favorites.
But I tell you, if you said tonight that you were gonna do a show, you'd pack the place. I mean, just even though you've been gone a minute,
when I was home,
your name still means something.
Yes, and it's the love. Like, when I put on shows, because I get out there and I promote them. When I was doing the shows at the Howard Theater, I was the first comedian to bring shows to the Howard Theater, the historic Howard Theater, and they purchased my tour several times. And those are just like blessings. You know, just like really things the universe gifted and gave me those things. People are like, how you get that? I just showed up, right?
And then authenticity too.
Yes.
The fact that you're real.
Yes. And my
that
friends,
makes a difference.
Thank you. And the friends that I have, like, when I have long-term relationships, relationships that are true connections. I'm like, if I'm connected to you and you're more famous than somebody else that I know, that's fine. But I'm connected to you because we have a genuine connection. You know what I'm saying? So when I look at, like, Tammy, who was an intern, Rashawn, who was an intern, these are people they're friends, Sophia, all of them, Ralph, they started off as interns, but I didn't see them as that. I saw them as people, and we cool and we kick it, and we still kick it to this day. You know, and then with you, like, Stephanie, what somebody asked you one time, how y'all friends?
Yes,
Stephanie was offended. She was like, what?
What she was trying to say was, how could somebody so bougie like you be friends with her?
But it's
and
so
I'm like,
funny.
what?
But I don't even see you. It's so funny because I was telling Katanya the other day, and I was like I don't see you as, like, bougie.
We're
but
from
I
Jersey.
know we from Jersey. But I'm like, I said, let me tell you something. Stephanie will read that ass if she needs to. And because with me being a comedian and being with the Russ Park, we're more, whereas though Magic was more of an older crowd demographic and that type of thing. But we've been friends, and it's so funny because we vibe for years, and the specific person you're talking about, we have no beef, but we don't even, if we see each other, it's love and respect. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing when people judge the book by its cover.
But that's the whole thing that what I was offended about. I'm like, this person doesn't even know me or where I can, or doesn't know me in that way. They think they know me. And if they knew my heart, they would understand. Of course we connect. I mean, because we grew up 15 minutes from one another. There's a certain vibe that comes with being from a certain place. And I was just offended because when people who don't know you judge you.
Yes. And Stephanie has stood up for me in so many ways. We'll find out later on. I'll be like, for real? She's like, what the? She's like, and that's your friend, but you ain't check on, like those types of things. And I'm like, oh my, thank you. I love and appreciate you. I've sat in this woman's house and ate her food. We've gone out to lunch. I watched them babies. I remember coming over one time when Gaby was first born and the children were watching something on television. And you were just sitting there real regular. And I was like, they ain't gonna disturb the baby. And you was like, we leaving everything on. Because he's not gonna be jumping in his sleep.
Kids waking up to used to hearing sound.
Right. So, and it's so funny. So when I go till this day, Gaby is now 19. To this day, when I go places, they be like, I said, the baby need to get used to sound. So they won't wake up. So no,
Gaby is 20. He is 20 years old. Junior at Howard.
Is he a junior already?
He is going into his junior year.
Wow.
And he's working at a supermarket this summer. And they got him in the back cutting fruit. So for like 5 hours a day, he cuts fruit. And so he will appreciate going back to school after cutting fruit.
Okay, because I know you you better get your own money.
That's right.
Now Stephanie got a little bit of change. She got 5 cents more than me, maybe 25. But what she ain't doing is giving it away. Now, Stephanie, right. I want to say this on public, public, what we calling this, internet, so everybody can know. So remember the award we won for the commercial we did?
Do you know that I've been in radio for 30 years. I've never before, never again. We won an award. It's the March of Dimes. It was one of the biggest radio awards in that community. And we won it for a commercial. I was a spokesperson for LA Weight Loss. And I wrote this commercial called Your Fat is Calling. And so I asked you to play the role of my fat. So my fat was calling me on the job, and my fat was telling me that my fat missed me, and all the things that me and my fat used to do together. We used to eat butter pecan, M&Ms, and we used to just hang over my pants all the time. We just used to hang out. And do you know we beat some of the biggest marketing places? We beat Subway sandwich.
Okay.
The ad was being you playing my fat.
Yep. And Stephanie took I didn't attend the award ceremony, but I just need you to put in your will that when you should pass before me, that it need to be passed on to me. Your children, I know they may want it. My name probably ain't on it, but that's my shit.
That is. Let me tell you that truly, because like I said about not everybody could have pulled that. And I didn't even tell you what to say. I just told you what my idea was. And me and you it was like we were peanut butter and jelly. We just tasted good together.
Yes. If you ain't got no peanut butter and jelly in your house, you're not black. You're not urban enough. Yes, so I remember we've really done some really cool things together. So many great memories, just really creating great memories and experiences. So Stephanie, what would you give to someone that wants to do yoga, but they're afraid? What are some of the tips you would give to them to prepare to go to yoga and taking the class, their first class?
Okay, so first of all, what I tell them, the doctors a lot of times say do yoga. They don't tell you what type of yoga to do or anything like that. There's so many types. You could, if I had walked into the wrong yoga class, I wouldn't be where I am today. So try different things. You might go to one class and it's not quite you, but try another class. Try it until you find the place that you vibe with, the place that you feel comfortable in, the place where you feel safe and where you trust that the instructor is going to give you what you need. Also, you can prepare, but you gotta have, if you're new to yoga and you're not very flexible, make sure you got your blocks and your straps, and make sure the teacher helps you to use them. That is the difference between staying in a class and dropping out. But try different things. Don't go to one class and say, I tried yoga. No, you didn't. You need to go to several classes and kind of figure out what works best for you. Whether you want a vigorous vinyasa flow class, whether you want a more a hatha yoga class that's going to go at a slower pace, whether you want just a stretch class. Just try different things before you say, I've tried yoga and I don't like it.
Yes. And you know what, that part about the instructor, most yoga classes you go to, for people that don't know, the instructor is not necessarily going to be doing each and every pose with you. They will show you, but also you want a class where the instructor works the room. That means they're walking around the room, they're checking your posture. Because here's the thing, if your posture isn't right, you can injure yourself. People are like, oh, it's just yoga. No, you have to, it's a certain way you get, especially like when you do hot yoga. They will take you go from one pose, I'm sure on all of them, you go from one pose to another because you stretch one part of your body and you're now preparing the next part of your body. And you go into it with ease. And when you, like, for instance, when you do the adjustments, you have to ease yourself out of it. It's 1, 2, 3. It's a reason and a purpose for it all. So sometimes people look at it and be like, oh, I can do that. That's easy. No, you need to follow the instructions and you have to breathe. So talk to us the importance about breathing.
Okay, but also, if you just let me step back one
Go ahead.
moment, you have to also be careful of who is adjusting you. I have been injured 3 times with people making adjustments on my body. They don't know my body. So not everybody's body moves the same way. Not everyone is shaped the same way. People are not going to walk in class and say, well, I have this illness, that illness, I have this, my shoulder, my back, my knee, nobody's going to come in and tell you everything. So you got to be careful. If I go to a yoga class and somebody says, do you want to be touched? I say no. Because I've been injured so many times.
And that's another thing. Most of them that are responsible or they're not going to touch you. They're going to ask you first. Is it okay do you want to be touched? Is it okay for me to assist you? Because sometimes assistants may not even be touching you. They may show you how to move.
Yes.
And
I'm
adjust
more
yourself.
of a verbal cue, because I have been injured so many times. I'm more of giving verbal cues than I am with touching somebody. And I do believe that the instructor should do the postures as well. No, don't stay in it. You don't have to stay in that posture. But if you don't show that person the posture, they're going to look at the person next to them, and the person next to them might not be doing it correctly.
Right. And most of the time, the yoga class I go to, normally, I don't know what this is, but normally the people that are more advanced kind of move to the front, and the people that are not, they'll kind of be to the middle or the back area. Now, when I've done hot yoga, Bikram yoga, they have the actual ballet bars. So when people go to pull their thigh, their ankle up, my thigh, I call it my triplets now. My thigh, hips, and ass sometimes be in the way. So I go to the bar so I can lift up, and then my right ankle have the injury. So I need a little more assistance. But when I get my leg up on that board, it's more than popping.
And also, people, one of the main things people say to me is, I don't know if I'm breathing right. I don't know.
Did you breathe today?
Yeah. But breathing is important, and it will come. You might not get into the rhythm of it immediately, but be patient with yourself. Be patient with yourself, knowing that it will come.
Yes.
So
But would you believe you mentioned the doctor says go to yoga? It's so funny to hear now that the doctor says go to yoga when these are things that they didn't even look at as help, right? So what are your thoughts on that?
I think we are definitely moving towards more integrative medicine, where you're integrating, the Western medicine with less traditional ways of thinking, especially things like meditation. Instead of for some people, hey, if you want to take anxiety drugs or depression drugs, that's up to you. But if you want a more holistic approach, there are people who are doing meditation, and that does the trick for them. Or you can do a moving meditation, like walking, or just other
dancing,
things.
running.
Exactly. But breathing and mindful breathing, staying present in the breath. Those are some things, like if you're stressed at the office, you can go in the bathroom, do 10 breaths, just close the door to the stall. Nobody knows what you're doing in there, and just breathe. By the time you get to that 10th breath, you can go back out into that office area and handle whatever it is you're dealing with, if you're open to it.
That's true. I believe it. Yes, ma'am. So here's the thing. What are your thoughts on yoga versus Pilates, and what's the difference?
I think now I don't know a lot about Pilates, so I'm not going to step out here and say something about it. But I know to me, yoga is all around. It's not a religion, but I think it encompasses the spiritual as well as the physical and emotional.
Yes.
It is not just an exercise. It is a practice that encompasses the breathing, the meditation, the physical postures, the asana. So for me, it's an all-around thing. It helps in so many different areas, opposed to just being an exercise. That's the difference between yoga and a lot of other practices.
Yes, I love yoga. Really gives me like my peace. If I had to choose one, it would be yoga, and it's true. And it's nothing like when I would do Bikram yoga in Maryland. At the end of the class, they would give us, when you went into Savasana, dead man pose, you would lay there. They would bring us ice cold lavender washcloths. I was working for the lavender washcloth. Okay.
So you
lay there, it was just refreshing. It just felt like love. And here's the thing: when I would step into the yoga studio with like 105 degrees, you're doing like 26 postures. When I tell you, it felt like a hug. You know what I'm saying? Because the temperature is really good. Like now, it's like I'll go to the gym, I'll do Zumba class, and when I go into the hot sauna, after being in there for 10 minutes, I honestly feel, after dancing, I feel like I've done yoga. So I haven't found a hot yoga studio near me that does the yoga I want. So I go there and I kind of get my satisfaction.
But promise me, if you promise me anything tonight, keep searching.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
To find what you
want. One of them closed. I had a Groupon. They had to get my money back. I was scheduled for class. I was like, well, I can't find. I said, every class canceled. And they said, oh, ma'am, the studio closed. What? So there's one near me and it's cool, but it's not the same heat and I've gone and I love it, right? But hot yoga, Bikram style yoga, I love it. I love it. Yep. So Stephanie, you are just the dopest. And I missed somebody asked something about your Zoom classes.
Yes, I still offer Zoom classes. People have come back in studio, but we welcome Zoom as well. I got it right up there in my studio. If you are interested in taking a Zoom class, you are perfectly welcome to do so.
Yeah, so that's cousin Beverly. She's from Jersey too.
Okay.
So I actually met her in Japan. Her former husband is Air Force. So I came out to some house music performing, and she said, "Where you get that music from?" And we've been friends ever since. So we met in Japan, reconnected in the DC area, and now she's in Atlanta area as well.
Oh,
We
very
love
good.
our house music. So she a cousin from Jersey.
Very good.
Yes. So Stephanie, thank you so much for your time. You know, I love and appreciate you so much.
Now, you know, and I told you before this, I've interviewed probably hundreds of people over the last 30 years. I do not like being interviewed, but this was a pleasure. The time went by very quickly. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for inviting me.
I appreciate you for coming on. I appreciate you for your yes, because it's so funny because I was like, we're friends, but I'm like, this is what Stephanie do. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm gonna interview Stephanie. Like this is what she do, and she gives the news, and you know all. But I got it. Yes,
you're fantastic.
But I've seen you do it. You've interviewed me several times, so and we just vibe. So thank you for your example.
That I know dope people too.
Thank you. We are mirrors. We are mirrors. Yeah, so tell Rich I said hi. Tell Dwayne, your brother, I said hi. I know he missed me. And tell them children, give them some love. I'll be home. Hey, Afiba. I'll be home in September around your birthday. We're actually giving my mom a 80th birthday celebration. So I will be lunch. In the DMV. Yes. See that? She tried to feed me.
Let's eat.
Let's eat.
Love you.
I love you. Mwah. Thank you so much for your yes. Have an amazing rest of the week. Tell the family I send my love.
Will do.
Thank you. Everyone, thank you so much for checking out I Know Dope People. Thank you to my big sister friend, Stephanie Gaines-Bryant, for her yes and sharing her time, tips with us about yoga and how we have to start moving. And yoga is for everybody type. I love doing yoga. I will say I'm pretty flexible. And the breath and just it gives me my peace. It does give me my peace. So thank you all for that. So here's the thing. The next week we're having our hey Mama Penelope. So next week on our show we're having another dope episode. This is going to be like our third or fourth installment of Dating After Marriage Chronicles. So it's going to be me. Michael Prince is going to I'm going to be here, but he's going to actually be the guest co-host along with Ebony Caldwell, Nichelle Johnson, and Larry Parrish. We all come on, we talk about relationships, dating, give one another tips and tools. And I think it's very important that we have men on because women, we have to hear the men's point of view. So we'll have more understanding. And I think that Larry and Michael are great men in my life to be that example. If you're interested in being a guest on the show, you're interested in being a sponsor on the show, please send an email to ikdppodcast@gmail.com, or you can give us a call. Shut up. I'm trying to learn my phone number. Give us a call at 404-491-1781. Again, 404-491-1781. You've been checking out Queen Aishah. You can like, subscribe, and share on my YouTube channel, QUEENAISHAH, and follow me on all other social media platforms. Facebook, Twitter, IG, Queen Aishah, everywhere, or I Know Dope People. Thank you, peace. Thank you, Katanya. Right.